Let's get straight into this. So I reached out to Dr. Sever Muresanu because I heard good things about him. I even saw Matt Dominance had done some punch outs with him a while back. So I thought, you know what, he's got some credibility. People can vouch for him. I know he's big in the scene of FUT, which I'm not interested in and I didn't need. But I also read that he was very skilled with doing punch outs and was a very, very ethical doctor. So I messaged him, hit him up by email. To be honest, didn't get a reply for about good 2-3 weeks, something like that. And I kind of forgot about him because I thought, you know what, he's not going to reply. But then he did reply and he offered me a consultation online at 9:30 in the morning for free. Some doctors charge. There are certain doctors out there charging €300 for a consultation. I'm not going to talk more about that, but certain doctors who are taking the mick. $300 for a consultation, €300 for a consultation. Come on, man. But anyway, he gave me a free consultation. I met him, very down to earth, really charismatic figure. And he tried to dissuade me from actually doing anything, which is very rare. So when you talk about your typical chop shop, hair mill, they will do everything in their power to convince you that you should get a hair transplant, even if you are not a good candidate, even if you have the worst donor hair available, even if you need 7,000 grafts and you don't have those grafts available. They will say whatever it takes to seduce you into doing that procedure with them. To see that difference straight away tells you that you're dealing with somebody who is a respectable figure and is ethical in their approach. So I had the consultation with him. He told me, look, it's not that bad, but if you want, we can maybe do like a test session of maybe 50 punch outs or something like that. That sounded good to me, but at the same time, I wasn't 100% sure because I didn't really want to travel all that way for just 50 punch outs. I needed more punch outs along my hairline because my hairline was way too straight, Mr. Lego man, and I wanted to fix it all together. So I sat on it for a few weeks, sat on it for a month. And then obviously I decided not to go with Dr. Mwamba for my next procedure for various reasons. And I emailed Dr. Sever. I said, listen, Dr. Sever, can we do the procedure but do more than 50 punch outs? And we agreed on a price. And he said, yeah. And we agreed on it after the summer holiday when he would return in September, end of September. So I went to Switzerland. So the clinic itself is located in a really beautiful neighborhood, small village. I believe it's called Stettin. Very nice clinic. I went there in the morning, had the consultation with Dr. Sever himself. He took some measurements. He looked at my hair, took some photos, analyzed. But he wasn't the one who was going to do the punch outs. So as I understand it, he does more the FUT side, whereas his wife, Dr. Laura Muresanu, does the FUE stuff more so. And she was the one who did the punch out. Then we talked about it. So what we agreed was that we were going to punch out around 200 if possible. And we were also going to use around 100 from the back because I had like a dark band across the back of my head that we could use to harvest more grafts from. So we agreed on that. Figures were approximate. Dr. Laura was the one who was doing the punch outs. Manual punch. Started at around 9:30, 10 o'clock. And it was really efficient. Everything was good, very professional. She was talking the whole way through. She was telling me what we were doing. I asked her, can you do this? Can you do that? She told me yes, or she told me no. And yeah, we finished around 3:30. The total punches made were 100 from the donor and then 200 that were taken out of my hairline. So with regards to the hairline, we focus especially on the corners. So in the temple region, we focused on punching out those so that I didn't have a Mr. Lego appearance, blocky, straight appearance. So it had more of a recession at the corners. And we also focused on taking out the big bulky grafts along my hairline. So the 2s and the 3s, and perhaps there were even some 4s in there, I'm not sure. But you know, the spider's web ones. So they took those out. And overall, we got 200 grafts out the hairline, which I was amazed at. I thought that we were probably looking at around 60, 70, maybe 100. But yeah, we got 200 out. Those were recycled and put behind the hairline. So in the gap behind the hairline. And then we also got the 100 from the back of my head that were also used behind my hairline, and they were also used on my temples. Everything went smoothly. So I came back the next day to get everything washed. Creams were given to me, etc. the day before. So they also applied them for me in the clinic as well. I did have like scabby kind of formation starting on my hairline. So I didn't have to shave for this procedure. I kept my hair long. Obviously, it's probably better if you do shave because then they can really see where the gaps are in your hairline. But I decided I want to keep it long so that recovery would be easier. So I cleaned up everything with them, took the shampoos, paid my money, said my goodbyes. Again, really brilliant experience, very friendly team. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. So I stayed in Switzerland for a couple more days, just took a holiday there. For the next 6-7 days, I still had the scabs and I was applying saline spray to my head and I was applying a cream to my head. And honestly, within 6-7 days, all of the scabs were gone. And I would say after 7 days, nobody would be able to tell I had a procedure at all. There was no scarring on my skin. The scabs had completely disappeared. There was no discoloration, nothing. It was so clean. The recovery was so clean. I couldn't believe it. I was back to work in 6-7 days. No one would notice a thing at all. Since then, I can see, I'm not 100% sure, but I can see that the hair behind my hairline does look thicker. I can cut it a bit shorter and the gaps are not as visible. Now, there still are some gaps because obviously I only use 300 grafts. 300 grafts is not a lot at all. But I can see that the hair does look thicker behind my hairline. Like the gaps have closed up a little bit. I can get away with shorter haircuts. The hairline itself looks 100 times better. So much more natural. There are still some bulky grafts that I would want removed, if I'm being honest. And there are some gaps. So obviously where they punched out some grafts that were bulky, that left some gaps around there. So there are some gaps in my hairline, especially on the left side, which I do want to kind of address. And I think I will be addressing them at some point. I will be getting some hairs implanted in and around there to close up those gaps. Single hairs, fine hairs taken from the nape, taken from the back, taken right from the back of my head. The temples look so much better. So some of the grafts that were used that day that were punched out or some that were taken from the back of my head were used on my temples. So my temples look so much better. Overall, honestly, it looks so much more natural. One thing that hasn't been addressed are the misangled grafts along my hairline. Again, especially on the left side, they're sticking straight up. The only way to get rid of them would be to remove completely and reimplant at a later date. But again, I didn't want to take this risk. Because I thought maybe I'm going to remove them and I come back to implant them and they don't grow so well. And there would be a long gap in between as well where I've removed them and where I'm going to reimplant them where I would be negative hairline. And I couldn't have that because that would almost take me back to square one. If I was advising someone now, I would probably advise them to take that route though. Because I'm so far gone, I think, you know what, there's no point of me removing everything and trying to start again. But if it was me in the beginning, after the Asli Tarcan Botch job, I would absolutely remove everything and then start from square one. So if you are listening to this now and you've had a Botch job, I would say to you, remove as much as you can of the misangled grafts, of the bulky grafts, of the crappy grafts, and reimplant at a later date. That is the way that you can rebuild this whole thing and you can get a natural looking result from scratch. Obviously, each situation is different, but if I was looking at my situation, that's what I would have done. Obviously, if I could go back further than that, I wouldn't have gone to Asli Tarcan in the first place, but hey, what can you do? This is how things have turned out. So if you are looking to repair, to punch out, to rebuild, you have a really good option in Hattingen Hair Clinic in Switzerland. A fantastic option. They are ethical. They're reasonably priced. Depends how much work you want to get done. Obviously, the more you need rebuilding, the more expensive it's going to be. When you email or when you talk to them, you're talking directly to the doctor himself, Dr. Muresanu. Obviously, his wife is involved, but he's the one, as far as I can see, who mainly does the emails. You will have a consultation with him. He's not trying to sell you dreams. This is the most important part. The work is really, really clean. It's clean, man. I haven't got a speck on my forehead. Nobody would think I had anything punched out or done. I always see people online concerned that they're going to get scarring. Yes, maybe some people have skin that is prone to scarring. Maybe that is the case. But even if you did, I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't really see much. Unless you've got somebody's got a microscope or a magnifying glass and they're sitting there analysing your hairline. But who's doing that? There are a few good options. Dr. Ferraduni has a very good reputation for this kind of stuff. Mwamba has a good reputation. And if we're talking punch-outs, I think he's good. But again, I have my concerns, and you can listen to them in my previous videos. But do not discount Dr. Muresanu, husband or wife, at Hattingen Hair Clinic in Switzerland. Trust me on that one, yeah? But anyway, I'd highly recommend it. If you do go there, you have the added bonus of being able to visit Switzerland, which is a beautiful country. The clinic itself is quite close to a place called the Rhine Falls, which is like spectacular. It's so nice. You can go and you can make a holiday of it. If you rent a car, you can just drive there within like 15 minutes, something like that. Very, very nice. The place is super expensive though. Just be careful of that. Be careful of getting speeding tickets as well. I got flashed by a camera and I got a speeding ticket, which hurt me, but hey, what can you do? But yeah, any questions, any stories, please message me. I'm looking to get this channel back up and running. We're looking to focus on these hair mills and unscrupulous hair clinics who will operate on somebody who's got cancer if they need to. Go watch my previous video. Anyway, hope that helps. I'll see you on the next one.